It was a warm summer's night in East Rutherford, New Jersey, and Vince McMahon on Monday Night Raw would make one of the most shocking announcements in professional wrestling history. I'm back! In July 2002, Vince McMahon would announce Eric Bischoff as the Raw general manager, and this shocked everyone because during the Attitude Era, they were sworn enemies. They tried to take each other out of business. Bischoff would spoil the results from Monday Night Raw. He would take Vince McMahon's wrestlers and was winning the Monday Night Wars for 83 weeks straight. But in the end, he failed and is now the Raw GM. And over the next couple of months, he would make lasting impacts in the WWE, like the creation of the Raw Roulette and the Elimination Chamber. But in January 2003, things started to take a turn for the worse, as Vince was not happy with his performance and threatened to fire him if he didn't make a change. So, to avoid getting fired, Bischoff would manage to get Stone Cold, who walked out of the WWE, to return. Austin's return saved him from getting fired, but it turned his job into a nightmare, as throughout the rest of the year, a rivalry would start to build between the two, and it would culminate in an edge-of-your-seat, thrilling Survivor Series 5-on-5 match where Stone Cold's career was on the line. But before I could tell you that story, I have to tell you this story. So Bischoff's in the ring, and he's trying to plead with Stone Cold to not have the match, and that he'll forfeit the win over to him. But then, glass shatters play, and out comes Stone Cold walking with a purpose in front of a thunderous Montreal crowd. With Stone Cold in the ring, Bischoff begs one last time, but Austin doesn't take the offer and hits him with a spear. Austin starts dropping right hands on Bischoff. He throws him in the corner and starts stomping a mud hole in him. Meanwhile, the crowd is doing Austin and what chants. Austin throws drinks in his face and hits him with a trifecta of stunners before ending the match. So now fast forward to the night after WrestleMania 19. Stone Cold's in the ring and he wants to congratulate The Rock on beating him the night before. But Eric Bischoff comes out. Bischoff then exposes Austin's medical records and says that he shouldn't be allowed to wrestle and that having him on Raw would be a liability. So he then fires him. So over the next couple of weeks, Bischoff is all happy that Austin's not there anymore and he starts moving wild. He trolls the audience by acting like Stone Cold's coming back. He fires JR, sexually harasses women, and on the April 28th, 2003 episode of Raw, he would make a match between him and Trish Stratus where if he wins, she goes back to his hotel room. So later that night during the match, with some assistance, he beats Trish Stratus and starts doing some dirty talk. But then a limo pulls up and guess who walks out? Linda McMahon. Linda comes in the ring and tells Bischoff that he's not fit to be a GM by himself, so she assigns a co-general manager, Stone Cold Steve Austin. The next couple of weeks, Bischoff and Austin would constantly butt heads on decision, but things go south on the June 30th, 2003 episode of Raw. Kane, who just got unmasked and was moving like a menace, would chokeslam Bischoff off the Raw stage, and he would look down at him with the most sinister, devious, evil, sadistic look on his face. This took Bischoff out for 2 weeks. He would return with a neck brace and blame everything on Stone Cold, because before Stone Cold was in charge, Kane was in a good mood. He was champion, he had his mask, but when he had to take it off, he turned into a menace and started causing chaos. So later that night, JR would have an interview with Kane to try to understand him and help him become a better person. But instead of talking, he wanted JR to feel his pain, so he sets JR on fire. While JR was roasting like a pig, Stone Cold was in the ring trying to de-escalate the situation, but he failed, and Eric Bischoff comes out saying it's all his fault and that Linda was gonna come out the next week and fire him. So on the July 21st, 2003 episode of Raw with Linda, Bischoff, and Austin, Linda says everything Bischoff said was a lie, but she told Stone Cold, who wanted to get revenge for his good old buddy JR, that if he hit any WWE superstar physically unprovoked, he would be fired. So Fast forward to SummerSlam, Bischoff is going one-on-one with Shane McMahon, and midway through the match, Jonathan Coachman interferes and Bischoff turns it into a no DQ false count anywhere match. Coachman and Bischoff are beating up Shane, but then Austin comes out. So with everybody in the ring, Austin gets provoked by Coach and Bischoff and he hits them with a stunner. Shane would go on to win the match. So over the next couple of weeks, Austin would get continuously provoked by Canadians, genetic freaks, the crippled, and eventually he become an enemy of the Raw roster. So on the October 20th, 2003 episode of Raw, Eric Bischoff would challenge Austin to a 5-on-5 Survivor Series match where if Austin's team won, he could stun anybody and everybody anywhere. But if Bischoff won, Austin is gone. Team Austin was the Dudley Boys, Booker T, RVD, and Shawn Michaels. Team Bischoff was Christian, Chris Jericho, Scott Steiner, Mark Henry, and Randy Orton. So on November 16th, 2003, we would witness one of the best Survivor Series matches of all time. The match starts off with Devon and Christian. They lock up and they take turns performing holds on each other. Devon and Christian would bounce off the ropes, but then Devon hits Christian with a shoulder tackle. Christian gets up and disrespectfully slaps Devon dead in his face. Devon gets angry and grabs Christian and repeatedly slams his head against the mat. The ref pulls him off, but Devon quickly grabs Christian and hits him with an Irish whip, but Christian reverses, only to be reversed again and dropped to the mat. Devon goes for a pin. 1, 2, but Christian kicks out. Devon tags RVD in. After an Irish whip and a failed pin attempt, Christian tags in Chris Jericho. RVD and Jericho go back and forth with momentum, each having a failed pin before Jericho tags in Scott Steiner. Steiner takes majority control and taunts while doing so, but eventually RVD is able to slip past him and tag in Booker T. After Booker hits him with a spinneroonie and Steiner with a spine buster, both teams break out into a big fight. With the ref distracted by everyone battling outside, Steiner hits Booker T with a low blow and puts him in the Steiner recliner. Booker is fighting the urge to tap, but all of a sudden Stacy Keibler jumps onto the apron and distracts the ref. Steiner goes over and grabs her by her hair, but before he can do anything, he gets hit with a reverse 3D. Booker picks him up for the bookend. 1, 2, 3. Steiner is gone. It's now 5-4 Team Austin. Mark Henry jumps in and Booker starts hitting him with right hands, but he's not phased. Booker goes for an Irish whip, but Mark's too big and he reverses and hits him with a world's strongest slam. He goes for the pin. 1, 2, 3. Booker is gone and it's now 4-4. Bischoff is clapping while Austin looks on worried. Bubba comes in, but Henry starts tossing him around, but somehow Bubba eventually gains some momentum and tags in Devon. But Devon ends up in the same position his Dudley brethren was in, and Henry has him in the corner. He tries to go for a squash, but Devon gets out the way and Bubba slides in and they hit him with a 3D. Van Dam then comes out of nowhere and hits him with a 5-star frog splash. They dogpile on him and they get the 3 count. Mark Henry is now gone and Austin shows sign of relief. RVD and Jericho hop in. Jericho dominates RVD before tagging in Randy Orton, and Orton tosses Van Dam from corner to corner, beating him down with punches and kicks. Orton Irish whips RVD into the corner and runs at him, but is stopped with a boot to the face. Orton stunned and RVD quickly hits him with a springboard kick and a rolling thunder, leaving Bischoff concerned. RVD goes to the top rope, but Jericho comes from behind and shoves RVD off, sending him crashing into the top rope, only for him to fall victim to an RKO. Orton goes for the pin. 1, 2, 3. RVD is gone and it's now 3-3. Devon goes in and takes over. He hits Orton with an Irish whip, but Jericho gets in a blind tag. But Devon adjusts and stays in control. He has Jericho down and for a pin, but Christian distracts the ref. It got Devon's attention, but it buys Jericho enough time to recover and slam Devon's head down to the mat to get the 3 count. It's now 2-3 Team Bischoff. Bischoff has a grin on his face. Now Shawn comes in and goes to work on Jericho. Shawn has Jericho in the corner and Christian tries to sneak in, but Shawn senses it and drops him. But Jericho pops up and he hits him with a clothesline. He tags Orton in, and Orton Irish whips Shawn and attempts a drop kick, but Shawn holds onto the ropes and Orton falls straight on his back. He tags in Bubba and Orton tags in Christian, but all members of Team Bischoff jump in and make it a 3-on-1. But Bubba tries to hold his own, but it's not enough, and he attempts a Bubba bomb on Jericho. Jericho hits him with a low blow, and then Christian hits him with an unprettier to get the elimination. It's now 3-1 Team Bischoff. Bischoff is gloating while Austin shows sign of concern. Christian and Michaels are battling. Shawn Irish whips Christian, who reverses and sends Shawn into Jericho, who pulls the rope down, sending him flying over the top rope. Orton and Jericho beat up Michaels and throw him back in. Christian has him in the corner, but Shawn fights back. But before he can build momentum, Jericho pulls him out and Christian follows. He grabs Michaels, sets him up for the catapult, and launches him face first into the ring post, busting him open. Michaels, who's bleeding like he cut an artery, is suplexed back into the ring. Christian goes for a pin, but Michaels kicks out. A frustrated Christian picks Michaels up for the unprettier, but Michaels gets out, sends Christian into the corner. But Christian runs up, only to get hit with a sweet chin music. Michaels falls on him. 1, 2, 3. Christian is gone, and it's now 2-1 Team Bischoff. Austin raises his hand in excitement. Orton comes in and chokes Michaels, screaming for him to bleed. He goes for an Irish whip, but Michaels counters into a sleeper. But Orton reverses out, and Jericho comes in and takes control until Michaels is able to counter with a DDT. With both men down, Michaels slowly goes for a pin, but Orton breaks it up. Michaels throws Orton out, but Jericho knocks him down and attempts a lion salt, but Michaels counters. Bischoff and Austin beg their superstars to get up. Shawn and Jericho struggle to get to their feet. They get up, and Shawn attempts a super kick, but Jericho ducks and goes for his feet for a walls to Jericho, but Shawn rolls him up. 1, 2, 3. Jericho's gone. It's 1-1. But Jericho, saltier than the Pacific Ocean, grabs a chair, slides in, and whacks Michaels in the head with it, dropping him to the mat. As Michaels lays lifelessly on the mat, Orton slides in for the pin. 1, 2. No, Michaels somehow kicks out. Orton climbs to the top rope, and Michaels gets to his feet. As Orton jumps off, Michaels drops to the mat, sending Orton flying into the ref. Shawn, using the ropes to get to his feet, he starts to tune up the band, but all of a sudden, Bischoff pops up in the ring and kicks Michaels in the ribs. Austin runs in the ring and takes out Bischoff. Then he turns his attention to Orton and hits him with a stunner. As Austin fights Bischoff up the ramp, Shawn crawls over to Orton, but before he can reach him, Batista pops out and hits Michaels with a Batista bomb. The ref starts to show signs of life while Orton crawls over to Shawn Michaels. Orton goes for the pin. 1, 2, 3. It's over. Bischoff wins, and Stone Cold's career is over. After this match, Stone Cold would return to Raw on December 29th with the possibility to come back. Eric Bischoff would continue being the general manager until it was time to take out the trash. But that is a story for another time.